Here's my theory on movies.
Do you want me to tell you?
You lose!
Oh, hi there. My name is Prostetnik Vogon Jeffs, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the 2024 Tim Burton horror comedy, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
You said it twice, just say it once more, come on.
It's the sequel to the 1988 film, but I can't tell you what that one is called without summoning an undead Michael Keaton demon. The film stars Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, and the aforementioned Michael Keaton, alongside notable newbies Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, Monica Bellucci, Justin Theroux, and Arthur Conti. The sequel picks up 36 years after the original and does its best to recreate the Gothic magic. Unfortunately, it fails miserably.
What?
Man alive, this movie is hot garbage. I can't wait to see the critical consensus on this. Are you f***ing kidding me? This can't be right. What are these reviewers saying? What? What? Oh, you have got to be pulling my sack. You people are out of your goddamn minds.
Who's coming with me, man?
I f***ing hate this f***ing movie.
Fair warning, it's gonna sound batshit crazy. Are you okay with that?
Maybe it's because I'm not a super fan of the original. Maybe that's how I avoided watching this pandering dreck without having my head stuck up my ass.
It's a little harsh.
I'm all for nostalgia, to a certain extent, but this is ridiculous. If you're going to let fond memories of the past persuade you to ignore bad acting and a terrible plot, maybe you deserve to get the modern Hollywood bile being vomited into dying cineplexes and across vapid streaming platforms. Oh, deep breaths.
Serenity now!
It's okay. It's okay. Honestly, it's not really surprising. The Star Wars franchise has already proven that you can coast off of nostalgia for nearly 50 years. There hasn't been a good Star Wars movie since Empire, but everyone still eats it up. I'm just shocked, that's all. I didn't think the public's love of Beetlejuice was so blinding. Damn it! I said his name a third time.
It's showtime.
This movie is terrible, and I'm going to spoil the shit out of it. Alright, It's 2024, and Winona Ryder's Lydia Dietz is the host of a generic ghost television show called Ghost House. I mean, sure, whatever. We'll ignore her laughable lack of charisma as a host. We'll ignore the unoriginal show title. Hell, we'll even ignore the fact that this movie somehow thinks this type of show would have a studio audience. Like, I know we're sick of every movie character having a podcast, but this is absolutely a case where it would have made sense. But no, let's give her a 90s era television show. Unbelievable. Oh, and then Beetlejuice shows up as a hallucination or something, because we can't go more than 2 minutes into the sequel without showing you the title character. Lydia freaks out and heads off to the restroom to dope up. You see, even though she was perfectly comfortable with being able to see ghosts during the first film, now they get on her nerves and she needs to medicate them away. Thankfully, there's a pill for that. After receiving several urgent text messages, Lydia abandons the taping and rushes to meet her stepmother at an art gallery. Delia Dietz, a sculptor of questionable talent, has closed her exhibition because her husband, and Lydia's father, Charles, has died.
What? Daddy's passed away.
He was eaten by a shark. And since we need to find a way to segue to the underworld, let's follow a random graffiti artist as he falls down a manhole. Sorry, a person hole. To his death. Perfect. Now we're in the land of the dead, and we get to see Danny DeVito accidentally set in motion the rebirth of Monica Bellucci's beautiful, but entirely pointless, Dolores. She's a soul sucker. Get it? Get it? Alright, enough of that. Now it's time to meet Lydia's estranged daughter, Astrid. She's teased by her classmates for being the daughter of a woman who can see ghosts. I think that's what's going on. But it doesn't matter because she's so sad about not being able to go to climate protests with her dead dad. Poor baby. Moments later, Lydia and Delia show up and embarrass the shit out of her. And Lydia sees Beetlejuice again before the three ladies, along with Lydia's producer boyfriend, head off to Winter River, Connecticut. Meanwhile, back in the underworld, Willem Dafoe's Detective Wolf Jackson questions Beetlejuice about Dolores.
Never seen that chick before in my life, or afterlife.
It seems like she's looking for revenge. And back up to the surface we go, for the funeral of Charles Dietz. Odd choice to have a children's choir here, seeing as how Jeffrey Jones, the actor who played Charles Dietz, was he was a... Listen, this just seems a bit strange. Anywho, Lydia and Astrid get into an argument about Lydia's ex-husband, Astrid's father.
You can apparently see any random ghost for your shitty TV show, but the one ghost that actually matters to me, you can't see at all?
There's a lot of resentment going on here. And back down we go, back to the underworld for a lengthy exposition on the origins of the relationship between Beetlejuice and Dolores. It goes on for what seems like forever, but all you need to know is that Dolores seduced Beetlejuice and then poisoned him on their wedding night, and before he died, he chopped her up in a fit of rage. At the wake for Charles Dietz, Lydia's boyfriend Rory tries to connect with Astrid, but she sees right through his bullshit.
Cut the crap, Rory.
So he decides to ask Lydia to marry him pretty much right then and there.
Can I have everyone's attention, please?
Everyone is weirded out, and we've got no indication that Lydia really loves him or is desperate to remarry. But because we need to set up a garbage third act conclusion, she says yes. Which pisses off Astrid, who bikes off into town. She's not paying attention and nearly gets run over several times before crashing through a fence and into a tree. Luckily, there's a boy. There's a boy hanging out nearby to make sure she's okay. Astrid interrupted Jeremy. His name is Jeremy. Anyway, Astrid interrupted him while he was reading
Crime and Punishment.
Because whoever wrote this stupid f***ing movie has no idea how to write compelling teenagers.
I've read it 3 times.
Did you really?
Yeah. Pain and suffering are always inevitable.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all reading Crime and Punishment, and Anna Karenina, and The Stranger, and Madame Bovary. These f***ing morons. God damn. Astrid and Jeremy make plans to hang out again, and Astrid returns home. She finds a photo album in the attic and has a semi-touching moment with her mother.
Can I keep this?
Yeah.
Which gets ruined as soon as Lydia finds a flyer from Beetlejuice.
Don't ever say that name. Not ever.
Beetlejuice.
This attic is off limits. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I understand that you're crazy.
Astrid goes off to hang out with Jeremy again, and it's so obvious. I'm not the only one who noticed this, right? Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Astrid and Jeremy are just 2 normal teens hanging out. They make plans to hang out again on Halloween. Everything is perfectly normal. Back at the Dietz house, Lydia keeps getting haunted by Beetlejuice, so she confides in Rory and tells him about the demon.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized my entire family and tried to force me to marry him in order to come back to the real world.
Being the complete prick that he is, Rory tries to help Lydia through her delusional behavior by saying,
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
They are instantly transported into the miniature version of Winter River, where Beetlejuice torments them through a therapy session. Lydia says home 3 times to escape. There's a nonsense scene with snakes setting up a future death.
Actually, asps.
And we're back hanging out with Astrid and Jeremy. The 2 teens get all kissy-kissy and start floating, and that's when Astrid realizes that Jeremy is a ghost. Oh my god, she's just like her mother. Jeremy really likes Astrid and proposes a way that they can be together.
It's all in this book. Everyone gets one of these when they die.
Astrid can help him come back from the land of the dead and see her father again. What a deal! As Delia signs documents to prepare for the sale of the house, Lydia learns from the local real estate agent that her daughter is in danger.
The boy lives over on Jefferson.
Don't mention that street.
Jeremy is actually a murderer who killed his parents and died during his subsequent arrest. Lydia races back to Jeremy's house to save her daughter, but it's too late. The 2 teens have already made their way into the underworld. So, even though she has access to the instructions on how to enter the land of the dead, Lydia instead decides to make a deal with Beetlejuice. Because plot. She agrees to finally marry him if he'll help save Astrid, and they head into the underworld. Oh, and Delia is dead. Snakes. Jeremy escorts Astrid through the bureaucratic halls of the afterlife and admits to tricking her. He needed to bring a living body with him to swap out so that he could live again. Or, is anyone else getting a headache? Anyway, Astrid is apprehended and taken off to the Soul Train and... No, this is just too stupid. I want you to know that if I had my way, I'd be done. Right here, right now. But I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this so you don't have to watch this lazy and poorly written horse shit. As she's being taken away, Astrid and her father see each other. And then Lydia shows up and saves her daughter from the Soul Train. A joke that goes on for so long, it's not even funny. Well, I mean, it wasn't funny to begin with, but they literally kill this joke by relentlessly beating us over the head with it. We get it. It's like the TV show Soul Train, but it's like human souls. Great writing, guys. I mean, who the hell wrote this garbage anyway? Oh, the same guys who wrote for Smallville? Gotcha. It checks out. A bunch of pointless scenes later, and I'm not exaggerating here, absolutely f***ing pointless, and Beetlejuice sends Jeremy to hell. Well, at least that's one plot line out of the way. And then Richard helps Astrid and Lydia escape back to the land of the living. The two women have a tearful moment and bond over their mutual understanding of ghosts.
I'm so sorry I never believed that you saw ghosts, and I'm just sorry for all of it.
Conveniently, their escape from the underworld led them right to the church where Lydia and Rory are to be married.
Oh my God, my wedding!
So off they go to the wedding. And this is where we really jump the shark. The wedding is attended exclusively by social media influencers. Real subtle, Chet. But Beetlejuice shows up and has them all sucked into their own smartphones. He injects Rory with some truth serum and exposes him.
Don't be afraid to share when you're ready.
And then we are treated to a 4.5-minute musical number. A 4.5-minute rendition of MacArthur Park. This has to be some novel form of torture. It has to be. MacArthur Park? Christ. I get it. It's about a relationship that's been in the works for a long time. But did we need a 4.5-minute musical number? Did we? Now that I've got your attention, thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this video, drop a like and subscribe. Leave a comment to support the channel. Or visit Baddest Shirt Co. to purchase some merch. Every little bit is greatly appreciated and helps me create new videos. Alright, let's get back to it. So then Wolf shows up and does nothing. And then Dolores shows up and does even less. Everyone is here, it's a party. So Astrid opens a doorway to Saturn's moon and unleashes a sandworm on Rory and Dolores, wrapping up 2 more plot lines with one stone, sandworm. And even though she's been occupied at every moment in this movie, Astrid at some point found time to read through the handbook for the recently deceased to find a legal loophole that could prevent the marriage of Beetlejuice and Lydia.
We had a deal.
She doesn't have to marry you.
What?
You violated Code 699.
That contract is null and void.
Officially off the hook, Lydia sends Beetlejuice back to the underworld, and Wolf escorts Delia there as well, so she can be reunited with Charles on the Soul Train. Oh, come on. Whatever, we're almost done. Lydia ends her ghost house show to spend time with Astrid.
I have spent so much time talking to the dead. It's time I started living.
But the entire conclusion of this stupid movie is a dream sequence, so who knows how much of it really happened.
I just had the weirdest dream.
What a moronic cliche to end with. So f***ing stupid. The end. Okay, so I'll deal with the positives right off the bat. I wish I had more good things to say about this movie, but regrettably this isn't the case. A score by Danny Elfman is always welcome, even if the majority of the soundtrack drowns it out with mediocrity. And Jenna Ortega is a great actor. I don't think she has enough to work with here, but she and Arthur Conti are the only 2 people in the cast that seem to be qualified for their jobs.
Are you sure about that?
Even Willem Dafoe, who I love dearly as a performer, just can't do anything with this script. It's a real shame. Oh, and I'll give some props to the visual direction. The VFX are well done and help connect this turd to its predecessor. Now on to the terrible. This movie exists purely as nostalgia bait. Just like the titular character, it's a trickster. It covers its poor story with a veneer of memories and feels for people who only vaguely remember the original. And superficially, it does a good job.
What?
The aesthetic of the underworld, the creature effects, the overall feel of the movie, it tricks the audience into thinking it's more of the same, but it isn't. It's a convoluted mess of a movie. The original Beetlejuice is a simple story. Adam and Barbara are vacationing in their country home. They die in a car accident and have to come to grips with their deaths and discover they can't leave their house. Soon after, a family of weirdos from New York move in and begin changing things around. Adam and Barbara try to scare them away, but are unsuccessful. Lydia, the daughter, can see them and doesn't think they're scary enough. So, despite a stern warning to avoid him, they summon Beetlejuice to do the job for them. The Dietzes aren't scared off and actually want to capitalize on their ghost house and make it an amusement park. Adam and Barbara are summoned by Otho, and Lydia tries to save them by making a deal with Beetlejuice. The demon gets out of hand, and Adam and Barbara help save the Dietz family. They all live happily ever after. There's a bit more to it than that, but not much. It's a tight story. The 2024 sequel is anything but. It's packed with multiple storylines that feel ham-fisted and poorly developed, so much so that we all but forget about some of them during the hour-and-a-half runtime. There's the relationship between Lydia and daughter Astrid, the actor-turned-detective hunting for Beetlejuice's ex-wife, the ghost boy murderer trying to come back to life, the missing father who died in the Amazon, the prospective husband producer guy who is trying to get in on some undefined inheritance, and Bob. And if you were so opposed to bringing back Jeffrey Jones for the sequel, which is completely understandable, dude is a disgusting creep, but if you were so opposed to that, why on earth did you make his character so integral to the plot of the movie? It somewhat comedically creates the cinematic equivalent of the Streisand effect.
Okay.
We can't have that PDF in the movie, but we can show his picture over and over and reference his character at every turn.
Good idea.
We'll even use an impersonator to mimic his voice. Listen, just cast the creep or write him out of the story. You could have killed him off between movies and made this story about something else. No one would have cared. It's so weird, especially considering how Adam and Barbara, Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis, are only mentioned once with a throwaway line.
Maybe Mom can get the ghost in the attic to give us a hand.
Adam and Barbara Maitland. They're not here anymore.
Might they find a better house to haunt?
No, we found a loophole and they moved on.
How convenient.
You couldn't explain how the two ghosts aren't around anymore, but you can predicate your entire movie on the death of Charles Dietz? What are you doing? And the notion that teenagers are going to be talking about crime and punishment, and Marie Curie, and Edvard Munch's The Scream, is so out of touch it makes my head ache with cringe. How do you do, fellow kids?
I like the James Dean costume, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, my parents think I look more like Richie from Happy Days.
Give me a goddamn break. This movie just gets everything wrong. Instead of creating a compelling and well-paced story, we're force-fed little bits of nostalgia, little nuggets of the past. Doesn't that taste good? Open the hangar, here comes the airplane. The scene on Titan is a perfect example of this. While escaping from underworld authorities, Lydia and Astrid find themselves in sandworm territory. This could have been a great moment and a decent callback to the original movie. But instead, we have to get some immersion-breaking exposition with Astrid noticing,
Hey, that's Saturn! Alright, so we must be on one of its moons! I swear the afterlife is so random!
what's the point of her saying this?
Thought you'd never ask.
Who f***ing cares if they're on one of Saturn's moons? How does this propel the story forward? It doesn't. It's just a nod to a disposable line from the first movie.
Hey, I've been to Saturn. Whoa. Sandworms. You hate them, right?
Tim Burton and the CW goofballs who wrote this just threw a bunch of this crap in to avoid writing things like, character development and a coherent plot. The two main characters, Lydia and Astrid, don't evolve over the course of the movie. The only reason they mend their relationship at the end is because Astrid realizes her mother actually does see ghosts. That's the extent of character development. It's all just so contrived and pointless. What am I doing with my life? And you know what?
Te lo dirò.
I think the thing that bugs me the most about this ill-conceived sequel is the conclusion. In the original, Lydia is a morbid teen who feels abandoned by her father and her stepmother. It's why she connects with Adam and Barbara. She sees them as surrogate parents, and by the end of the movie, she gets everything she wants. Charles and Delia are both content but unchanged in their roles, and Adam and Barbara coexist with the Dietz family. They get to act as parental figures and play house, and Lydia gets some maternal and paternal affection. Everything works out. But in the sequel, we don't get any sort of resolution whatsoever. It's a trite and unfunny cliche. We're led to believe that Lydia has grown and wants to spend time with her family instead of with ghosts. But it's a dream sequence.
I love a good dream sequence.
A moronic, creative decision that not only calls into question everything that's happened in the conclusion, but everything that's happened in the movie. It's infuriatingly stupid. I seriously don't understand how this movie is getting such high review scores.
What's going on? I don't know.
It's mind-boggling. And I wanted to like this movie, I really did.
Why?
I liked the first movie, and I think it still holds up. And I have fond memories of other Tim Burton movies from when I was younger. But damn, this just isn't it, folks. Review scores be damned. This is a f***ing travesty. How anyone could call this a good movie is beyond me. And maybe that's a me problem. Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm not, but I'll entertain the idea for the sake of this video. Actually, no, I won't. I'm right. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is a truly terrible, terrible movie.
Comprende?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
We can work something out ourselves. We just have to try.
Yeah.
Hey!
Excuse me? What?
Excuse me.